There was a time in my life that I hated everybody and everything. Now, I was a Christian, and frankly, I felt bad about hating everybody and everything. I tried to be the best Christian I could and serve God, but I didn't have any tools to know how to deal with my anger. You see, as an adult, I brought in to my adulthood some patterns of behavior from my childhood. And anger was a huge part of who I was. Now, I wasn't the kind of person that you would look at and think, oh, she's ticked off, stay away from her. I wasn't that way. I was the type of person that hid my anger very well. In fact, I was pretty good at pretending that life was great. I had learned how to do that because I grew up in an abusive home and everything was a secret. And no matter what was going on at home, you always pretended that everything was great. And so as an adult, I had this kind of shame-based thinking. I just believed that bad things only happen to bad people. And when you grow up believing that, you end up pretending that everything is great. And so it kind of set me up for living a life of perfectionism. You know, like if I could do enough in this life, then I'd be accepted and loved and lovable. And so I kind of bought into the world standard of achieve, achieve, achieve. You know, if you can do great things and education and your workplace, then you'd feel better about yourself. I was running a marketing department. I was working, 60, 70 hours regularly. And I was working on my master's degree at the same time. I was raising 4 teenage foster boys. And I was pregnant. That was kind of the time in my life where I just ran because I thought if I could just ignore the past, and if I could just achieve the things the world says I should, then I'd be fine. But that's a lie. And eventually, I had to deal with the pain of my past. But there came a time when I clearly couldn't do it my way. And so I entered into a counseling relationship with somebody who I knew would pray with me because that was important to me. But somebody who was an expert in working with women who came out of a sexually abusive home. And so I trusted her enough to start to explore some of the things that were, kind of locking me up as an adult. Because now I realized I was responsible for the things I could change. The people I hung out with, I was responsible for my internal dialogue. I was responsible for saying no to the lies that would sometimes come up in my mind. I had to choose healthy relationships. And frankly, I had to learn some new things that allowed me to be healthy. You never know how sick you are until you get around people who are healthy. So today, when I think about the word thrive, I'm amazed at how much I love my life. I'm amazed how God could take me from a place of being so broken to a place of serving Him with all of my heart and mind. I love life. I love my family. I love my friends. I love my work. But mostly, I love God. Sometimes I get overwhelmed that I get to do the things that God has given me to do. It is such a privilege to walk alongside of women who share my background, to watch the miracles that God does over and over again. When I get to sit next to a woman in her 70s who's never spoken the truth of her past, oh my gosh, I get to watch the Lord bring life to her and more life to me. See, I've learned the longer I serve God, the more I realize how much more there is to know of God. And I just get blown away that I get to be a part of His plan. He doesn't need me, but He chooses to use me. And sometimes I just think, God, I'm the luckiest girl on earth. I get to tell people about you, Jesus. I get to take the pain of my past and tell people, like, hey, God really does not waste a hurt. He can and He will make all things new when we surrender to Him. And when we do, man, He makes incredible things out of the ruin of our lives. It's a happy place to be on God's team. I love God. People make fun of me because I say that all the time. I love God. So profound.